Gennady Golovkin. Obviously, he has a big fight coming up this weekend against Canelo Alvarez. I know you've talked about the fight and you've broken it down before in the past, but has anything changed as far as you're concerned? I know a lot of people, you know, when they first were talking about this fight, Golovkin was the heavy favorite. I mean, nobody even gave Canelo much of a shot originally, but now it seems like things have kind of flipped. A lot of people are saying this is a 50-50 fight. You know, Canelo's gotten better, Golovkin's gotten worse. You know, I've just seen a wide spectrum of predictions coming up. Has anything changed as far as you're concerned with this fight?
You know, first of all, I think the masses' opinions on the fight, it just goes to show that people are going to ride with their favorite, who they favor, who they like, and who they're a fan of. You know, naturally they could say that Golovkin slipped because he had a tough fight with Danny Jacobs, but I don't think we should look at Gennady in that fight. I think we should give Jacobs credit. You see? Jacobs deserves credit for giving him such a tough fight. And I don't think that shows signs of slippage. It shows, I mean, it's crazy when you really stop and think about it, that his success has also become, I want to make sure I said, you know, his success has also become a quick negative. So, you know, I knock out 23 guys in a row, but if I don't knock out the next two, something's wrong with me. Well, guess what, man? I mean, the last two guys he fought were very skillful guys. You know, Kell Brook was skilled. And if you can get the weight within 10 pounds of each other, a skilled guy is going to show that he's got skill, even though he ended up getting stopped. And, you know, he had an unfortunate mishap. He showed that I'm skilled, so his skills are going to show. It's just that what he had to go up against, you know, at some point overrode his skills. Right. But it would have been different if it had been a nobody. Now you could say, he's slipping, man. This guy, you know, never even beat a contender, gave him a problem. But the guys who gave him a problem were world champions. So let's give them credit for being skillful, as opposed to, you know, negatively saying that Golovkin has slipped. I mean, Danny Jacobs is legit, you know? He's legitimate. On one end, you say Golovkin is slipping. On the other end, you got people, you have Golovkin critics who say he's slipping. On the other end, you have Golovkin fans who say, well, Jacobs cheated. He weighed this much the next night. You know, he had to, you know, you got people having him having a 40-pound weight advantage too. I mean, just ridiculous stuff, you know, to make the excuses for him. I think it all boils down to what Al Bernstein said. I think he put it the best. Can Canelo take Golovkin's power? Can he hurt Golovkin? And can he stand up to Golovkin's punches? Can he hurt Golovkin? And can he stand up to Golovkin's punches? I think that's what it boils down to. And I think it'll be evident in the first the first 3 rounds, who will have an edge in that fight. But I think that's what it boils down to. Can Canelo hurt him? And can Canelo stand up to his punches? And then when you put it that way, that goes for both sides.
Well, what kind of? I mean, I know they keep talking about both sides are talking about knockout. But I don't believe that's really going to be Canelo's game plan. It would probably be foolish if that was his game plan, to go in just gunning for a knockout. So I mean, how do you see Canelo approaching the fight? Is he going to come in and try and outbox Golovkin, or is he going to try and keep the fight close and smother him? Like what do you think would be best for him?
First of all, he's going to have to be able to stand up to the pressure before anything materializes. He's going to have to stand up to the pressure, and he's going to have to stay calm in the storm, because that's going to happen. That pressure is going to be there, and he's going to have to show the ability to stay calm in the storm. And then second, whatever the game plan is, he's going to have to be able to execute that game plan with a fallback plan off of that. You know, if you look at Canelo's last 10 fights, and if you look at Golovkin's last 10 fights, and if you're going to think neutral, I'm not a fan of either one. Well, you look at Golovkin's his best wins was Chavez. He didn't get the best Chavez. I mean, if the guy's weight drained and everything else like that, you beat a guy. You didn't beat him at his best, I'll put it that way. You know, the victory is more, it's easier to read the level the fighter has achieved when the victory is against a guy who's at his best. Then I look at the fact that Amir was outboxing him. True. You know, but then you had a lot of speed involved there also. But one thing we wanted to do, we wanted to force him to come forward and keep him down to one punch at a time, and we were able to do that. You know, so coming forward, Lara was able to do that. To bring Canelo forward. Now, when he's on the back foot where he likes to counter punch, Floyd brought him forward also. When he's on the back foot and likes to counter punch, I thought, you know, he did a good job with Cotto. I thought he boxed very well against Cotto. There was somebody else he boxed pretty good against too. Well, Liam Smith. He boxed well against. I think the question is, you have to ask yourself, is all the guys that Canelo boxed against, his last 5 fights, they had gone the distance with Golovkin? Would Chavez had gone the distance? The Chavez that fought Canelo, would he had gone the distance with Golovkin?
I don't think so.
The chances are no. Okay, would Golovkin have gotten Khan out of there sooner without as much, you know, and down to one punch? Probably not. Would Cotto have gone the distance with Golovkin? I mean, Cotto was pretty competitive in that fight. He was just a smaller guy. Lara, you know. So those are the questions. And on the flip side, do you think Canelo could have beat Danny Jacobs?
I mean, personally, I don't
or
think
even
so.
the Kell Brook that fought Golovkin that night. Could Canelo beat that Kell Brook?
That's a tough fight for him. That's a tough fight.
Those are all interesting fights. Yeah. Those are all interesting fights.
Well, has he improved? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think a lot of fight. You know, once it's not. And again, I don't want to make light because I do think he has improved since the Floyd Mayweather fight in some areas. But has he improved as much as people are making it out to be? Like, has he improved? At least as far as you're concerned, has he improved in leaps and bounds since the Mayweather fight, or is it just like a small improvement?
I think he's improved in the most important place, in his own mind. You know, which is very important. You know, I think he believes himself that he's gotten better, and that's crucial, regardless of what the public might think. I mean, because, I mean, if we want to, we can put fights out of his last 6 fights or so. You know, we can debate a couple of them. We can debate the Lara fight. If you want to go with copy box and punch stats, we can debate it. We can debate the Kirkland fight, who on an 8-week notice had to drop 50 pounds and 60, and hadn't fought in a year and a half, and you know, was at a disadvantage like that. We can debate that. You know, with a healthy, active James Kirkland, would that have been a different fight? We don't know. You know, but we've seen lesser guys drop Kirkland and knock him out, so we don't know. There are more questions for Canelo than it is for Golovkin. But that doesn't mean he can't beat Golovkin. He certainly has some attributes that he can take advantage of. But then on the other end, there's some things that he cannot do. He certainly cannot go to the ropes. I know he has a lot of confidence in his defense, but you're fighting a guy who's willing to hit you everywhere. So your defense has to be offensive-minded also. I mean, he don't care if he hits you in your shoulder, your arm, or whatever. He's just going to hit you. You see? And then the idea that I can't let him get a clean punch through, that's mental pressure. I can't let him get a clean punch through. That's mental pressure. I can't stop on the ropes. That's mental pressure. Because you got to ask yourself, where can I take my break? Where can I take a breather? So the only logical breather is, you know, I have to walk and keep distance between me. But if he's steadily coming, will I be able to get that? So I think it's more questions for Canelo than it is for Golovkin. But at the same time, it's Canelo's night to shine. It's his night to rise if he's going to do it. So that's what makes the fight so interesting. And then on the other end, maybe Golovkin has slipped. Maybe he might get tired. You know, I know he trains up in Big Bear in high altitude, and science has proven that if you train in high altitude and you live and sleep in high altitude, it's really counterproductive. Now, that's for runners and things like that, but we have seen Golovkin kind of get tired sometimes in the middle rounds. And, you know, then you say, well, okay, what does that mean? Well, when Shane was training up at Big Bear, we would see Shane get tired. We would see Oscar get tired sometimes in the middle rounds. They would come back with a second win, but they'd have some rounds where they would be tired. And high altitude has a tendency to do that to you. Now, if you train in high altitude and live and rest at sea level, it's productive.
Have you seen either of their physiques? Have you seen how either guy is looking yet?
Yeah, I have, and I'm concerned about Canelo, all this bulk he's got on. That's, you know, you got to carry that around. And as the rounds go by, I mean, that gets heavier and heavier. If you don't want any unnecessary bulk on you as a fighter, like a big chest, big arms, and things like that, it's counterproductive. Whereas Golovkin's physique, it always looks the same. It looks like he trains his forearms and neck quite a bit in his core, you know, but other than that, he keeps a lean-looking physique, you know, more conducive to the division. But Canelo, you know, if he has any weight, he's going to look more bulky. So, but he's quite athletic with his size. He's proven with his size that he can go the distance. But that would be a concern of mine, that extra bulk.
Why do you think they added that extra bulk? Is it just so they could deal with the naturally bigger guy? Because I know, like, you guys didn't do that when you prepared for Kovalev, when you first jumped into light heavyweight. It's not like Dre didn't put on a bunch of mass or anything like that. I mean, he definitely looks bigger to me now at 175 than you know he was at 168. But it's more of a natural bigger. It's not like a bulky bigger.
Yeah.
So
you're absolutely right. It's just a matter of he's bigger because he's several pounds heavier. He's not bigger because he put artificial weight on it.
Yeah.
You know, because he's just several pounds heavier. So it's a real weight. It's not an artificial weight, but the way Canelo is built, any 5-pound, 10-pound transformation is going to be really evident on his physique because he's got those short muscle bellies, you know. his traps are big, but that could be an attempt to, make his neck strong in those areas, so it don't snap around from a punch or anything like that. So a lot of people say he's taking it to absorb more punishment, and I mean that's a logical reason to absorb more. But on the other end, will it affect his offensive end?
Yeah. So do you have an official prediction for the fight? Or are you just watching it as a fan and just trying to enjoy it, or is there an outcome that you think is going to happen?
This is a great fight for me because I do have it 50-50. That's a fight you can really enjoy and just sit back and enjoy it because I do have it 50-50. You have to give Canelo his the chances of him winning. You have to give him. You have to concede to him those advantages that he might have to win, and on the other end, you have to concede to Golovkin his advantages to win. If you twisted my arm, I would say Golovkin. If you twisted my arm, and that's based simply on if Canelo doesn't if he goes to the ropes or if he tires, or even if Golovkin chooses to box him. I think his boxing ability is underrated. Golovkin's is underrated. The consensus is you could outbox him, but it's hard to outbox somebody who's had over 300 amateur fights.
That's true. That's true. I actually was going to ask you if you felt like Golovkin got, the credit he deserves for, his boxing IQ, I guess, so to speak. Because I know one thing. He does know how to cut that ring off.
He knows how to cut the ring off, which would be a first for Canelo. To have somebody cut the ring off, like I said, just there. All the time, that constant pressure just being there. That unnerves a lot of fighters. So he has to get control of his emotions before he can get control of the fight. If he can control his emotions, then he's going to have to fight in situations that he doesn't want to. But if they prepared for that, it'll be interesting. And then vice versa, can Golovkin handle Canelo on the inside? There are a lot of people who think that Canelo has the advantage on the inside. If we had to do an eyeball test, if we had to go on the past 5 fights each one of them has, I would concede that Canelo would probably have an advantage on the inside. He's a good body puncher. So that's what they have to worry about. But I'm sure that Sanchez has considered that and that he has some sort of remedy for it.
Is this? I know this is a fight that they've been talking about for a couple years now. It's actually a fight that Golovkin has wanted for a very, very long time. Do you think because you mentioned the emotional impact of the fight, do you think the fact that Canelo has kind of got the weight of Mexico on his back, he's doing this for the Mexican fans and he's made a big stink about Golovkin, talking about the Mexican style and whatnot. Do you think that could potentially work against Canelo?
I think he's put some unnecessary pressure on himself by making those statements. He's put a lot in front of him to back up. But, at the same time, I have to give him his credit for that. I mean, that's what great fighters do. They put something out there and then they back it up. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I give him credit for putting it out there. And he's definitely going to have his country behind him. Although I discovered in the Angulo fight that he's not loved by everybody in Mexico, particularly the ones who had to go about it the hard way. A lot of people feel like a lot was just handed to him, but I don't know about that. I mean, he started boxing at pro for 45 pesos, so I don't think nothing was handed to him.
Right.
You know, I think he came through the grind just like everybody else. So, and then he has, if he loses, they're built-in excuses for him. Age, too soon. He's not going to, if Golovkin loses, it's a wrap. That might have been me. Yeah. But if Golovkin loses, he really doesn't have a built-in excuse. Where is it? I mean, he's 35. He's accomplished all this. They put a stamp of greatness on him a while back. You see? Whereas Canelo, he definitely has a built-in excuse. Age, experience, small. They're going to give him out. So I don't think he's going to lose his fan base or anything. I think they have a rematch clause, don't they?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So if Golovkin barely pulls it out, you can best bet that rematch clause will be exercised. I think the only thing that probably could hurt Canelo is if he gets knocked out or gets beat bad enough that he doesn't want a rematch, even though he has the clause. I think his Mexican fan base would really come down on him for that.
Right. I just have just one last question on that subject. A lot of times, you know, when they talk about a knockout, when it comes to, you know, top fighters, elite fighters fighting each other, it usually doesn't happen. It usually ends up going to the scorecards and whatnot. What are the chances of this fight actually ending in a knockout? Do you see one of these guys getting knocked out, or do you think it's more likely to go to the scorecards?
I think it's highly likely it's going to be a knockout for the simple reason that the magnitude of the fight. I think Golovkin understands that he's got to get a knockout to get a fair shake in Vegas. That has to be on his mind, although I think Vegas has the best boxing commission in the world. But, you know, I'm sure enough people have told him that, you know, to beat Canelo in Vegas. And I mean, there were some things that was evident, like, you know, when he fought Floyd and it was a draw. There's some things that were probably concerning, rightfully so. You know, but that's just one person. That doesn't represent the Nevada State Athletic Commission. That's just one person who saw a fight that way. So I think Golovkin is definitely gone for the knockout, and I think Canelo will take a knockout, but he's probably going to exercise all the options that he has. You know, but I think it's going to end in a knockout. I believe someone's going to get knocked out because of the pressure, because it's going to be a fight. I mean, Canelo's going to have to fight.
Yeah.
He's going to have to fight. He's not going to be able to rest and dictate the pace. Only way he's going to dictate the pace, he's got to get that kid's respect. And to get his respect, you got to fight.
Wow.
You got to hurt him. You know, you got to do something to get his respect.
Wow. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.